Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Algorand Developer Office Hours. I'm your host, Ryan Fox. I'm a developer advocate here at Algorand, and I'm thrilled you guys are joining us again. Today we've got the team from Wyre joining us to the stage. Are going to be Erich Grant, Director of Business Development, and Matt Dale, Solutions Engineer. They're both at Wyre, and they recently launched an Algorand integration into their suite of development tools to provide fiat on and off ramps, custodial wallets, payment rails, and they wrap this all up in an easy-to-use API and some sweet developer docs. So welcome, Matt and Erich, to the stage today.
Before I get started, I want to thank the Algorand team for having us here today. We've been working on this integration for a while. It's been an absolute pleasure to work with the organization top to bottom. We're really bullish about Algorand and the mission of what you guys are doing, and we're very thrilled to be speaking with the developer community today. Wyre, our integration with Algorand recently went live. This means that Algo and Algo assets can be used across all of Wyre's different functionality. I'm going to give a very sort of high-level overview now of what Wyre does and what we've been building, and then Matt's going to go into a little bit more specifics about how you can use what we built to meet your business objectives. What is Wyre? Wyre is an interesting company. We've been in the space for quite a long time. Wyre was founded in 2013, so we've been operating for almost 9 years now. And during those 9 years, our focus has pivoted as the market's matured and there's been different cycles. What we ended up with, though, is a suite of APIs that sits between the traditional fiat world and the new sort of crypto ecosystem. And Wyre enables people to move value back and forth between those two worlds in a compliant manner. So we're two solutions. We're a tech layer, and we're also a compliance and regulatory layer. When you add those two things together, it's a very powerful gateway to getting people into your app and helping them get off your app. Wyre's mission is to onboard as many people as possible into the crypto universe. And we know that to do that, we need to be building for developers who are the people that are actually building the tools that will help us succeed in this mission. That means all of our solutions are designed for developers and startups to take easy advantage of. There's no fees for signing up with Wyre. Signing up is very easy. We have great documentation that makes it very straightforward how to do one of these integrations and get it up and running really quickly. We build, with a B to B to C model, and our goal is to help our partners meet their clients' demand. So we have a constant feedback loop of adding new features and tools based on what the market's telling us. We pride ourselves on a really quick turnaround time and being very responsive to what the community needs. And finally, as I alluded to before, Wyre operates as a regulatory and compliance tool. In the United States, Wyre is licensed from FinCEN as a money service business. And then we have a network of money transmission MTL licenses in each of the individual states that allows us to operate throughout the United States. Additionally, we have a new MSB license in Canada that we recently stood up, as well as a MSB in Australia from Austrac. And these licenses allow us to operate globally in a compliant manner and take those compliance and regulatory sort of burdens and headaches off of our developers' plates and onto our plates. So it's really both sides that we solve for here. Wyre likes to think that we have 3 core services. We have our on-ramps, and that's allowing people to take different types of fiat and convert them into any of the different digital assets we support. We have our crypto and cash services, where we function as almost a banking layer for our partners, helping them transfer and store and move value all around the world. Finally, we have our off-ramps, where we work with our partners to allow their customers, users, whatever you may have there, take their crypto and easily convert it into fiat. Our integration with Algo means that Algo is available across all of our different endpoints. We have our checkout and card processing API. That's our flagship product. That enables people to either using our pre-built checkout widget or building their own skin on the API, accept credit card payments from their customers and convert them into any type of asset we support. So right now, if you look at any of the installations of Wyre's widget, Algo is an asset that you can purchase there. We have our Swaps API. Our Swaps API powers some large wallets and projects in the ecosystem. Algo assets are now natively available there. So if you have it, you can seamlessly swap between Algo and any of our other supported assets using our fully compliant Swap API tool. And then finally, we have our Earn program, which allows people to earn yield on the different assets that Wyre supports on our custodial wallet infrastructure. And we've enabled users to earn yield on Algo and Algo assets on that API. And that's all done seamlessly through the custodial wallets infrastructure. Going forward, this is our roadmap for the first half of 2022. We're currently standing up on-ramps now in Latin America. This will enable people to on-ramp into Algo assets using Brazilian real, Argentinian pesos, or Mexican pesos. That's on and off. We're turning on real-time bank transfers in the EU, which will enable instant euro on and off ramping throughout the continent. We have approval from Visa for Visa Direct. This enables push to debit cards, which will enable people to off-ramp from an Algo asset directly to a balance on their existing debit card. We're very excited about that. And finally, we just received approval to begin issuing FBO accounts, which will enable projects built on top of Wyre to have fully named sub-accounts underneath them. And this is very valuable if you were trying to run a remittance or a payments application on top of Wyre. So we've been working really hard to grow our Rails network, to grow our capability set. We're very bullish about what the new year will bring, especially with this Algorand integration. And looking forward to see what else comes through. You can follow along on our TestWire or Discord here. And I'm going to pass the microphone to my colleague, Matt, who's going to go into a little bit more detail with you guys.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it. Just one note for anybody signing up for our TestWire environment. You can get that account auto-approved, but you do need to submit some dummy documentation. So if you log into TestWire and you sign up and it's asking you to put in some KYB type of business information, just know those can be dummy screenshots of Looney Tunes or whatever else you want. It's just the test environment needs something uploaded. So just a quick tip on that. Okay, I'm going to go into now just a little bit about the API and the core functionality of the API, the core endpoints, just to give you a high level of everything and introduce the concepts, and then we'll do some live demos via Postman when I'm done. So quickly about the API, the main point of this slide here is just to let you all know that we have a very standard API. You're going to get HTTP status codes back, all standardized, super robust, and really easy to use and familiar for you developers out there. Authentication, we provide a number of ways to authenticate with our services and our endpoints. Nothing too complicated here. Hopefully none of this will be overly complicated for the crowd here that's very tech savvy. We allow a signature authentication, so signing the request. We allow a simpler bearer token model using the secret key. And more importantly, what I think the crowd might be interested in is decentralized authentication. So this is something that you would actually see in our documentation, actually, but we're rolling out a new version of the decentralized auth with our latest services and endpoints coming soon. So for those of you that want to implement decentralized authentication for your app, we will very soon be able to support that. And so a little bit more about our on-ramping capabilities that Eric mentioned. First and foremost, our flagship product, that is Wyre Checkout. So this is a hosted checkout flow where Wyre is, you're redirecting to a Wyre interface to allow your customer to choose to pay via credit and debit cards, Apple Pay, and more recently, ACH. And super popular, very robust integration. The other options we have are what we call direct or white label processing. So for those that want complete control of the user experience end to end and are okay taking on the additional complexity of managing card data securely, you can use our card processing API and our Apple Pay API as well to essentially white label Wyre services on top of your application. And of course, we can recommend various services such as, Spriggly or Very Good Security, VGS, to help you manage that complexity. But there are additional security and user agreement requirements when you are processing in that direct model. Similar to the card processing, we offer the same for our ACH on-ramps. These are a little bit easier for you as a developer because you won't come into play with PCI compliance handling card data, but it still does, of course, add complexity if you want to capture all this information upfront in your app instead of simply redirecting them to our checkout product. So those are the main on-ramp integration options. And as Arish mentioned, we're adding rapidly to our capabilities with those. Okay, so the second pillar of our services, crypto and cash services, primarily, or first and foremost, I should say, our wallets API. So this is custodial Wyre wallets. If you just don't want to touch the wallet infrastructure at all or manage any complexity that goes along with spinning up new wallets and getting them funded and active, our custodial solution is for you. Also, although not as big of an issue with Algorand because of all the great work they've done to keep fees low, you can use, you will have gasless, or feeless transfers using the Wyre wallets. So that's a plus. Also, the next pillar that we're really excited about and making big pushes in end this year and into the next is our Wyre Plus. So this is a yield generating wallet that are open, really kind of a no-brainer for any of those looking to go into the DeFi world. And lastly, our swaps API. So you can use Wyre to build a fully compliant swap function. Again, as Arish mentioned before, part of what we do is take away the regulatory and compliance overhead and burden by bringing that on ourselves. And one way that you can take advantage of that is using our swap API and building your own exchange or something similar into your app with our API. Okay, and then the last pillar, off-ramps. Of course, fiat currency is not going away. We want to keep it on the blockchain, but occasionally we will need to get it into the fiat world. And we offer today primarily 3 ways to off-ramp. The first is US ACH. Not a lot to explain there. I think everybody's familiar with ACH. It's simple, fast, inexpensive. We also offer local bank transfers in, we'll call it 5 markets. The EEA, of course, covers a lot of countries. But we have integrated all local banking rails in those countries. So in Mexico, Brazil, China, Australia, and Europe. And the last option, if you need to support a country that's not supported by the local rails, we can push out international wires to just about anywhere in the world that is not on a sanction list. So, of course, we've got to do our due diligence with where we're paying out, and there are some countries that are sanctioned. With outside of that, we can pay out anywhere. The only, those are a little bit expensive from a timing perspective and on the fixed costs. So typically those are larger dollar amounts for obvious reasons, but they're certainly very viable and used quite frequently by our partners. One thing you can do that's this nice about Wyre's API is tokenize all of your user bank details. So if you're using us for off-ramps, make sure you use our payment methods API to store those bank details once. And then every time you want to pay out to that user, just reference that payment method ID that you just created. And I'll show you how to do that in a moment. Okay, so now I'm going to go a little bit more into just the services and talk a little bit about how they actually work before I go into the actual demo. So as we mentioned, wallets are these are custodial wallets, easy, compliant way to build your app. We handle all the funds and requirements, account opening, spinning up addresses, and providing interest, or yield when applicable. So you can see there on the right-hand side are just going back to the important thing about this wallet object that we'll see in a second is just you're going to get an ID back. You're going to name it. You want to put in the middle section there. You see a URL. That's where you can post callbacks to, or we will post callbacks to. So if you want to listen to updates about the wallet and get pinged anytime it receives funds, whether it's via an on-ramp or via an external crypto transfer, you can set up that listener to make sure you get notified of all events there. And of course, you'll see the Algo address there as well, hosted in that wallet. Okay, so checkout, on to our flagship product. Wyre Checkout is hands down the fastest and most secure way to implement card on-ramps. You can implement this in just a few lines of code. I think we like to say maybe under 10 lines of code. And you're going to get a very nice, clean, flexible user interface here. Modern. The page is responsive. So if you pull it up within a phone or a browser or a tablet, it's going to, of course, respond to the screen size and have a nice layout. The checkout is also, and this I will demo, it's flexible in how you choose to display the amounts. So you can, if you just want to allow your customer an option to on-ramp funds, you can populate, a default amount of 100, but allow them to change that. And that's, say, case of, I want to spend $100 to buy Algo or USDT on Algorand. You can do that. Another way to initiate the checkout is by choosing a destination amount denomination. So that could be a use case where, hey, I want to buy an NFT on Algorand that is worth 3 Algos or 5 Algos. Then you can create a checkout version that is denominated in the destination currency and let the user know how much in fiat currency it will cost them to buy that amount in the destination currency of that, the destination currency that is Algos. You can also, if you'd like to, pre-populate information into this checkout. So I think that's if you're doing your own sort of due diligence or account creation in your app prior to the checkout initiation, then our recommendation is to just load that information directly in the checkout, and you can lock the field so the user doesn't have, they can't and they don't need to edit the fields through the checkout flow. And just makes for a lot more seamless user experience, of course. And there are 2 primary ways to initiate the checkout, either as a full redirect, which is what I'll be demoing, but also as a hosted dialog or pop-up. And you can find information on how to implement that very easily on our documentation. Okay, and this is a relatively new product that is live with a few customers right now, and I won't be demoing this, but I did want to talk about this. Wyre can now offer within our checkout widget full KYC flow, which for you as a potential builder, entrepreneur, allows you to on-ramp both ACH and higher limit cards through our checkout. And what you can see, those screenshots you're looking at, are just going through the KYC flow that through our partner. We use SumSub, which is a world-renowned and gives us global coverage for KYC and identity verification. And what that flow gets you is, again, ACH on-ramp and higher limits for cards. So if anybody's interested in high dollar amount card on-ramps or ACH, this is a potential flow for you. And our limits are, I believe, up to $7,500 a week in the US for cards. So quite high. And I think that's something that is pretty unique actually in the ecosystem for card on-ramps. Okay, and swaps. As we mentioned swaps a couple times, this is Wyre offers a fully compliant a way for you to build your own fully compliant exchange. One thing to mention is, as a prerequisite, we do require some basic information about the user that will be using our swaps, so your user of your app. And that information is used to do OFAC screening on our side. Of course, we need to remain compliant and in good standing with the authorities. We want to do that. And so that's part of this process. And you rely on us for that. The way that swaps work, pretty basic. And I will demo and create a swap here in a second. But essentially, you're going to create the swap with the assets that you want to swap, and we will send you back a funding address. The funding, there's no amount locked in at the swap. So whatever your user sends to that funding address, that's the amount that we're going to swap. Okay, and off-ramps. So I talked a little bit about off-ramps and the types of off-ramps that we offer. Here, I just want to talk a little bit about primarily about non-custodial solution off-ramps. So for the custodial solutions, it's very straightforward. You can use, we have a transfers API where you'll just send money from the wallet as your source of funds to a payment method or a set of bank details. So I'll demo that, but it's very straightforward. You're sending from wallet to a bank account. Quite easy. The non-custodial solution is pretty nice. So what you can do with Wyre is create a payment method, which again, everyone's new here. A payment method is just a set of bank details. So think of it like a token representing bank account details. And then from there, you can attach an auto-liquidating algo address to that bank account. So it's an easy off-ramp. So essentially, if you have your own custodial solution and you want to allow your customer to off-ramp, you can build a little button that says off-ramp to my checking account. What that will do is transfer funds from your custodial wallet to this auto-liquidating address, and we will automatically initiate a transfer from that address to the user bank account. So pretty convenient way for you to off-ramp for the non-custodial. Okay, so before going into the actual demo, we're just going to do a quick postman session for everybody here. I do think we should take the time here to plug Algorand's own native payment gateway. So we're working with the Algorand team and the Pago transaction gateway team to integrate Wyre Checkout to help build out their own on-ramp capabilities for both ACH and cards, as we just discussed, and also the global bank transfers to support global remittance services, among other things. So I just wanted to mention that. I think that's a really good service. So being the developer-friendly organization that they are, I think it's awesome that Algorand is building their own native, essentially, payment gateway. So you can, as a developer, you'll have your choice to reach Wyre through that or to integrate directly with us if there are, some things or services that you want to use that they haven't built to. I'm basically just gonna send a couple requests here in Postman that I just described. The wallet, the checkout, show you a couple of the transfers, and create a dummy swap for us. It all starts with the custodial wallet. So to create a custodial wallet with Wyre, it's quite simple. You're just going to hit our wallets endpoint here. And you don't actually need to put any payload in here. We'll create a wallet just by hitting the endpoint. But the piece of information that we typically recommend is a name. So that it can either be an identifier on your side to help reconcile that ID, or it can be something that you just want to display to your user, Matt's Algo wallet, or it's just Algo wallet, whatever you want to name it. And then on top of that, a callback URL. This is, again, not required, but if you want to receive updates on any transactions or activity related to that wallet, you can put that in here. So I'm just going to fire that off. And you'll see I've created a wallet down here. Whoops. Here, I have the wallet ID. There. And one thing you'll notice is we don't yet have an Algorand address. And the reason for that is we make Algorand addresses opt-in. I think we're seeing a lot of that in the ecosystem these days. So to get Algorand support for this wallet, I need to hit one other endpoint. So I'm going to grab my wallet that I just created. And I'm going to, we don't need timestamps. So let me kill that. Don't need to worry about that. And I'm going to hit this endpoint blockchain attach. Okay. And so this is for adding blockchains that aren't supported by default in the wallets, which is Algo. I'm going to copy in my wallet that I just created, and I'm going to specify that I want to add a Algo address. Okay. Okay. And so now you can see that I've created my address here. And if I were to do a get on that wallet, I'm going to see now an Algo address here. So we've successfully added Algorand address to this wallet. So now we have a custodial Algorand wallet here. Again, just to reiterate, this wallet can support both Algos as well as USDT and USDC on Algorand. Okay. Hopefully that made sense. The next thing I want to show everybody is the checkout, because of course this is really the flagship product. And I'm actually going to do a demo to my own MyAlgo wallet. So this is off-ramping to a non-custodial solution. So I've pre-populated, and I would in general recommend to pre-populate destination wallet addresses in most cases. Just make it easy on your users, right? So I've locked in, and there's, in the hosted checkout field, there is the ability to lock in those fields so they can't be editable. So I'm locking in the currency and the destination here. And one other note, the hosted checkout will redirect when it's done from our widget. So you want to put in a redirect URL to send them back to some splash page that you set up on your side. So I'm going to fire that off. So now you can see I've created a hosted checkout here. I'm going to grab that. And we're just going to go through a Wyre widget. Okay. You can see I didn't set an amount, so it's just going to default here. I'm going to put in 5. Method. So let's put in 20. So you can see the fees. There is a $5 minimum. So typically larger transaction amounts make a little bit more sense. And you can see the exchange rate here. And I agree. So then you're going to go through, put your information in here. All pretty standard. I promise I'm only doing this once, so you won't have to watch me type more than this. 121 California Street, because I'm in San Francisco. So now the transaction's been submitted. Just our fraud module does take a few seconds here to chew on that transaction. Okay, now we come on to the authentication. We offer two separate ways to authenticate. The first is an SMS and essentially a one-time passcode sent to your bank via a pending auth. That's a default. Or if you'd like to opt in to 3D Secure, for those that are familiar with verified by Visa or MasterCard Secure Code, those are more native issuing bank authentication methods. We also support those. Which I think is actually a better experience because they're pushing a lot of times the authentication to the user rather than having to pull it. But in any event, we have some flexibility there. So I'm going to authorize. Boom. There we go. So I've just purchased my algo. And I think I should now be able to go in to my wallet. That one and out. So it's not yet there yet. I'll come back to that in a second. I want to show you the return back home. So now we're back to Amazon. This is my redirect URL. And the important thing to grab from this is that we append to the redirect URL some information. If there's a blockchain transaction ID, we do that. But more importantly, an order ID. So you'll see this URL parameter that's been appended. So you receive the customer back to your URL, you grab the order ID, and you check the status of that transaction. Okay. Pretty simple. And you can also, we also support webhooks for this as well. So you can use the webhook as well. Let's see if my transaction has come through yet. Yeah, and there it is. So now you can see here, 11, less than a minute, and for me. So that's the transaction that I just sent to my Algorand wallet. Okay. So I'm going to do one more. Let's see where we're at in time. One more wallet order. And just for the UI sake here, I mentioned you can also pre-populate information. So I just wanted to show you what the user interface looks like that. Also for, if you're running an NFT marketplace, you probably want to set the destination amount, the amount that you're going to receive in your own business account or business wallet from the user. And so that's what this use case is. If I want to set a destination amount of three algos, that's the price of my NFP. I want to have the amount not include fees, because that's the amount I want to receive, and any fees on top, I want the user to pay for those. This address here is actually my business account address. So if you're, developer, you set up a business account with Wyre, you're going to get your own addresses you can fund. And then I have all the user information here. So send that. Grab my URL and load another widget. Okay. You can see now this amount is fixed. So I, as a user, cannot touch it. I can't mess with the address. I can just select my payment method and agree to the terms. And then when I click next, you'll see that all the information is also populated in here. So again, just for those of you that are collecting this information up front, it's just a much better user experience to grab that and populate it. Okay. Not going to go through that. We've seen the flow there. So just wanted to show you how that's done. Okay, so I think the last thing I really wanted to demo here is the off-ramping. So for off-ramps, if you're using a Wyre custodial off-ramp, Wyre custodial wallets, excuse me, as I mentioned, it's a very simple request to off-ramp. The source is going to be your user's wallet, and you're going to include a payload of the information for them, their ACH information. Name, accounting number, type. Very basic. As we said, ACH, fast and simple. That's the beauty of ACH. If you would like for the non-custodial solutions, I think that's more interesting. So I mentioned you can create auto-liquidating blockchain addresses. So the way to do that is first create a payment method. For those of you that paying attention, again, I said a payment method is basically a tokenized set of bank details. So as you can see here, I have my bank account details. I'm going to create a payment method. I get this payment method ID. That is in effect the token representing the bank account details. There's a whole bunch of information down here, not really useful. The the interesting part, or the cool thing that we do, is attaching that blockchain address. So I'm going to grab the payment method ID that I just generated here. I'm going to attach an algo address. Okay. And like a lot of our APIs, notify URL. What this will do is make sure that anytime this auto-liquidating address gets hit with a transfer from, the external crypto world, that we're going to ping your URL to let you know, what type of event happened. Okay. So, and of course, I need to specify that I'm trying to add an algo blockchain here, and the payment method ID goes in the URL. Okay. And now you will see this payment method that I just created has a blockchain attached to it. Okay. And again, what that will do is any incoming transfer received from external sources to that address will be automatically liquidated, and we'll create a transfer out to the corresponding bank account details. Okay. Yeah, and I think that's all I had set up for the demos. I hope everybody learned a little bit about how to use our APIs and just what the objects look like, and are interested to learn more in our documentation. And of course, feel free to reach out with any questions here in the chat.
Great demos. I mean, what the Wyre team have put together is incredible. You guys have APIs and solutions available for the fiat world that are, I think, second to none. Like, I've really am impressed with what you guys have put together thus far. Showing that roadmap about what's coming is also very exciting. We're thrilled to have the partnership with Wyre and Algorand put together already. Where can we learn more, and how do we start building these integrations then?
You can reach out to Wyre to be connected with someone like Matt or myself, and we're happy to workshop and diagram how we could build a solution for you. We also obviously have our API documentation that you can just check out and build yourself. Yeah, there's a lot of ways for it. We're very open, so reach out, and we're always happy to have a conversation about how we can work with somebody.
Great. Tell us for the developer website specifically. Can you read off the URL? I know you have it. I knew you had the QR code in the slide deck.
So the SendWire is like the more marketing side, and then just docs.sendwire.com is the API docs.
Yeah, perfect. Maybe Arish, maybe you want to be able to talk just a little bit about the fees for our audience who isn't reading the questions there.
Yeah, absolutely. So for our on-ramping, for domestic transactions, we charge 2.9, domestic meaning the United States in this context, 2.9% of the total amount plus a 30-cent fee that's fixed, and there's a $5 minimum. Internationally, it's 3.9% with the same 30-cent fixed fee and the same minimum. So, those are sort of in line with what credit card rates are for this type of industry. And you can choose, and those are all paid by the end user. And they're in the checkout flow that Matt went through. You could see that that's broken down. So user wants to buy $100 worth of algo. They'll see 2.9% plus 30 cent right there. So it's all transparent and very easy for end customers to know exactly what they're paying and what they're getting.
Nice. All right, good. And then for doing these integrations, we've got the SDKs and the IDEs, or actually, I guess that's the question. Like, really, what SDKs are available? What languages are they available in? What IDE integrations do you have available?
Yeah, we don't have any like full-fledged formal SDKs as you would think of it. I mean, you can find some legacy ones in GitHub. We do plan on updating those. I think the easiest way to really get started with our API is our API reference allows you directly within the, we're using README to host that, the interface to generate payloads in different languages directly within the API reference. So as a developer, all you need to do is create a TestWire account, get that approved, and you'll generate a secret key, and then go to our docs and just plug in your secret key into the API reference, and you can fill out the payload manually in the fields, and then we'll translate that to any language you want, including the authentication header. So I think that's the easiest way at this point to to get some code snippets to get you started right out the gates.
Great stuff. All right. We've got the Algorand developer portal, and we certainly do encourage you guys to put some of your solutions up there for our developers to put out there. I know that this integration is brand new that we have together with Wyre and Algorand, and we're thrilled to be able to put those articles up there and tutorials to walk the developers through how to put these integrations together. So we look forward to those coming as well.
I guess one thing I'd say is Austin asked, he says he works at a credit union in Alabama, if you could work with Wyre. Wyre works with all types of partners, individual developers to heavily regulated and licensed financial institutions around the world. We're trying to serve the entire community, and big or small, we're always happy to have a conversation. Yeah,
and I would say that's part of what we really want to emphasize is you're going to get someone like Arish on the commercial team, but you're also going to get someone from my team on solution engineering, no matter how big you are. So you're going to get a dedicated integration support resource. And it's, we try to be more than integration support, just answering questions. We want to get with you very early on in your project to help you design the best end-to-end solution that you possibly can. So I think we know that although we think our APIs are super simple, what you may be trying to do with them are not. And so we very much want to help walk you through the best practices and to optimize your setup.
Outstanding. Well, Matt and Arish, I want to thank you guys for joining today on Algorand Developer Office Hours and showing us around what Wyre has to offer. Incredible set of APIs and developer docs to help us integrate fiat rails. We really appreciate your time today and can't wait to see what we can build together.
Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Well, thanks everybody for joining Algorand Developer Office Hours. We look forward to seeing you on a future episode. Upcoming, in fact, in 2 weeks' time, we'll have another group on. So we look forward to seeing you then. And until then, have fun building on Algorand.